Testing 1, 2, 3. Can the camera see me all the way?
Can you see me okay? Hopefully my head's not chopped off this time.
Here's the test. Can the camera see me?
Here we go. Hello, my name is Melissa. I am going to share with you a lecture regarding Asperger's syndrome and autism. I myself have high-functioning Asperger's syndrome, something I was born with. It's the roof of the autism, which means slightly more high-functioning. I'm going to share with you what it's like to have autism and Asperger's. Asperger's and autism discussions. Number 1, we all have thin skin and will always do. Some people have thick skin when they have autism or Asperger's, and some have thin skin. So telling people to toughen up, or sometimes you're better off not telling them that. They can only learn that on his or her own. So that's just how some people are. Some people are thin-skinned, some are thick. So it just depends on the individual. We love compliments and optimistic people. Yes, compliments really gives us a bright side of the day, definitely. And we definitely look up towards optimistic people. Negative people, not so much. We're better off keeping our distance towards them. And number 3, we will always be a little naive. Yes, part of Asperger's and autism is a brick in the head. So no matter how many times people tell us this or that, there will be almost a little misunderstanding. I mean, that is part of not knowing completely what's going on regarding the last piece of the puzzle or whatever the topic or situation is. That's just how it is, and nothing wrong with it. Number 4, loud noises, yelling, and even stern talk shreds us to pieces. Yes, we don't like loud noises like this, like the fire alarm, for an example. Yelling, oh my gosh, no, please don't yell. It'll just make us clam up and crawl up into a little ball. That's what yelling, sometimes stern talking even does that. So regular talking is better for us, whether we're in trouble or if we didn't do well on a situation or topic. Just talk to someone like the way you want to be talked to and problem solved. It's all good. We are literal thinkers. We have a little trouble with sarcasm, humor, and jokes, especially with people we don't know. Yes, we are very literal thinkers, which means we take what every person says very seriously, especially a person we don't know. Yes, for people that are around people with Asperger's or autism, don't share your sarcasm, kidding, or humor quite yet. Give the individual at least a few months to fully understand you, their personality and all that before you joke around here and there, because then we will fall for everything you say. Number 6, excuse me, sorry. Don't get frustrated if we have screw-ups. We are not robots. We are not perfect. We are human beings with feelings too. Just like you. Yes, if we were to have a little screw-up, whether let's say someone is ordering pizza on the phone, and the individual with Asperger's or autism picks up the phone. If they don't get the order correctly, don't get frustrated. Don't lose your patience. Just have some grace. Allow the individual to go through what they have to say on the phone and sharing what is on the menu, and just say politely yes or no, or yes, this is correct, nope, this isn't correct, in a polite, cheerful manner if you can. Even if you're not in the best mood, give it a shot. Just show some grace. Even if the individual were to screw up on your order or whatever, just show some grace. I mean, it's only food, for an example, or whatever you're trying to give the individual what they're trying to order. Show some patience. We do better around people who definitely show lots of patience and tolerance with us. People who have short fuses, we don't do so well. But let's not let that person bug us. Sure, they're probably having a rough day. But oh well, just focus on the person that's given us compliments and optimistic suggestions on the phone here and there on what to do, and just do the best you can. Alright, number 7. If it looks like we are not following directions, we need to be shown physically on how to do something at least one or a few more times. Yes, we may not get what is going on at first, especially if we haven't done it before. It may take us at least a full month to fully understand the full routine. It doesn't mean that we're not paying attention. It just takes time for the information to sink into our brain fully, for it to soak in like water to a sponge. You know when you see Alexa going into this buffer mode with the light, trying to go around? That's what our brain does when we are fully not connected to the routine or information or whatever's not going on. So just give us time for that full light to connect to the brain, to the bulb, and then the light bulb turns on and we'll get it eventually. It just takes a little bit of time. Alright, number 8, we need people to repeat sometimes themselves. Oh, let me repeat that, I'm sorry. We need people to repeat themselves, sometimes depending what it is. Yes, we need repeating, like I mentioned before. It takes time for the brain to understand the full routine in order for the light bulb to go on. So we're not buffering. So it looks like we're not buffering. If we are, just give us some time and we'll get it. We will get it. Just have some tolerance, patience, talk to us the way you want to be talked to, and it's all good and dandy. Alright, number 9. We look like bad listeners, but we aren't. We had trouble understanding a situation or topic. Some people don't know the difference. Alright, there's a difference between not understanding and not listening. Not listening is when someone is trying to talk to you and you're like, what? What? What'd you say? Over and over again? Or not understanding is pretty similar. If you ask the person a question or show them what to do on a topic or situation, and if they're not fully connecting, it's called not understanding properly. So it looks like we're not listening, but we're just not understanding correctly. We would ask questions. Okay, is this how we do this, or is it this or that? So that's the definition of not understanding. We are not bad listeners, I promise you that. That's the difference between not listening and not understanding. Not listening is not fully focused on the person and not hearing what they're saying if they call you or whatever. That's probably the definition of not listening. But when the person has their full attention to you and they're not getting it, that's lack of understanding. Alright, number 10, we have hidden talents. Like thinking outside the box, like Albert Einstein. He has Asperger's. Temple Grandin, she has autism. And there is also persuasive autism. Yes, some people might be a hidden genius, like they may have a hidden talent, may keep it to themselves, and they'll share it to people who are open with them. So, don't be afraid to share your talent towards someone who's open towards you. Definitely. Number 11, be careful when you give us advice. Be gently honest, not brutally honest. We are like glass. You know when some people say, if you can't handle, when I tell you the truth and you can't handle it, that's an example of being brutally honest. And that's why people get hurt. And when people say you can't handle the truth, well, that's because you need to be honest without being hard-headed or being nasty. Being gently honest means trying to find a way to talk to the individual without, using brutal words. That's the definition of gently honest. So try to, like I mentioned before, talk the way you want to be talked to, and try to find words as appropriately and politely as you can without hurting them. Try to go to their point of view or their height and explain whatever is going on that may be upsetting you or him or her, whatever is going on. Alright, number 12. We are okay with suggestions, not command. Suggestions are okay. We can be open books, open-minded towards suggestion. Like another way to empty the trash, for an example. Some people pick it up and just throw it in the trash, and some people just tie one end or to the other bag together and tie it in a knot. But commands like I want you to do it this way, and this is the way you should always do it, like this all the time. That's not really the best way to approach the person that's being demanding, actually. But suggestions are okay. Have more suggestion towards people. Don't force yourself or suggest person to do it your way all the time. You could also be open-minded if the individual has other ideas on how to do it too. So that's an example of suggestions and commands. Number 13, swearing is another thing. Oh my gosh, swearing is just like getting a freeze burn on your skin. So if you know someone who is sensitive to swearing, try to keep it down. Have a flame tamer on you or a filter on you, just so they're a lot more comfortable with you. If you're going to swear, just don't do it around the individual and not while you're in their presence. So that's the best way to handle the situation of someone who is sensitive to swearing. Number 14. Help us grow by sharing strengths with us. Yes, if you look at a weakness that we have, try to find an example on what we can do to help us grow. Don't use weaknesses against us. That will prevent us from growing, and that will prevent us from learning or even paying attention or wanting to join that class or wanting to be with that teacher or tutor or peer mentor, or even a job coach again. So try to do your best to lift us up. Don't tear us down. That doesn't make us learn. It only teaches hatred. We want to learn how to love, and we want to learn. Don't teach people to unlearn. 15. If we say something that offends someone, we probably do not think it over, or we're unsure about the topic. We mean no harm. If we were to say something, for an example, oh, why is that price so high? Regarding a cup that's being made, to the owner or to others or to watchers out there that are watching an individual making a tumbler, we mean no harm. I mean, we are unaware of the shipping and how much work it's put into. So, congratulations to tumblers. Keep doing what you're doing. Put your heart and soul into it. Definitely with all the colors that the customer chooses. So if we say something that hurts anyone, we mean no harm. So just gently approach us and explain why about the question that we asked. So go easy on us. We don't mean to bite anyone. Just don't bite us, okay? Alright, number 16. If we are upset or crying, let us be. Anytime you are upset about something, you're better off leaving the individual alone. Wait for them to put themselves together, because if you approach them while they are upset, they are most likely to snap or even come towards you unprofessionally, weeping, and you're better. It's just not comfortable to face the individual who's trying to comfort you when you're in full breakdown mode. It's just not comfortable at all. Let the individual breathe, wait until they're back together. Then when they're okay, then you could approach them and see if everything is okay. Because usually when you are healed and you let your steam, you're just letting off some steam, you're better off talking more appropriately and more professionally towards the individual. Especially if you're at work or out in public. this definitely take advantage of this example, okay? Number 17. If you are frustrated towards anyone or something you are struggling, then keep trying at it. It may work out. If something does not work out, sure, you may be frustrated, or a coworker or a boss may approach you. If you felt like you've been nipped at, then try not to take it personally. They probably have a lot of stress on them, and sometimes when a person is stressed out, they will lunge out at anyone that they approach. That's just human nature. I mean, just wait until you do the situation or task, and maybe you'll get better at it. Just keep trying. Yeah, I know it'll knock you down and you feel like turning into a puddle, and even if you do turn into a puddle, keep trying at it. You'll get it. It takes time. It's okay. And if someone snips at you, they're not permanently mad at you. Sure, it hurts. Yeah, ow. It does. Like poking a needle through your heart. Yeah, it hurts. But the individual may be having a sucky day. Or just apologize to the individual and be like, hey, I'm sorry I messed up, and then they'll come clean with you and all that. So just keep trying. Do the best you can. It will come. And if not, talk to the individual if there's other options, or they'll keep trying to encourage you to keep trying. Okay, number 18, know about boundaries. Yes, anytime you have a friendship with someone, always understand their boundaries. Because anytime you cross it, that person doesn't want to be your friend as much anymore after you cross the boundaries more than once. It just makes you want to step away and go towards someone else. Like, for an example, if I gave someone a boundary not to be brutally honest, and then they continue to use hurtful words for me over and over, and I tell them, don't, please don't. That does not help me. Can you use more kind words towards me? Or can you approach me more politely? Then, if that person continues to hammer you by overstepping that boundary, then they're not worth your time. That's a sign of being toxic, that person. Always follow their boundaries. And if they don't, and if they continue to follow you, but if they continue to screw up or not understand, then try to find a way to set a schedule. Then boundaries should be set appropriately. We love to rock. Yes, being an OSPE, being autistic, we love to rock like this, whether it's to music or to the TV. For some reason like this, we just find it very, very comforting. I rock to music almost all the time, just not in public. Never in public, absolutely not. Or you could tap your foot. You could rub your hands. Just do that in public instead of rocking. You could rock all you want at home. For some reason, that's just a comforting thing for us. Whether we're stressed out or whether we're playing music we love, yeah, jamming here and there, then, yeah, anytime you're at home, feel free to do what you want, just not in public. Number 20, we could be obsessed with one thing only, sometimes more than a few things. Yes, you could be focused on the weather, for an example. If you're obsessed with that only, you're watching that all the time, then that's a strength. Or something that you just love to do, like sew. Or making a homemade alcohol stove, or even a wood gas stove, or walking the dog, or being with a certain animal. Those are all obsessive hobbies that you love to do. And for people that are uninterested, they're just staying quiet, just to avoid a conflict or a situation. That's their best way to do it. So if you see someone that's uninterested, that's why. We love animals. It's like they understand us. Yes, that's so true. Kitty cats, they actually have a little bit of Asperger's syndrome. Like, for an example, they don't like it when other animals get too close. They'll either shy away, run away, or even go rat and slap them. They don't like being chased. We don't like being chased either. Like a cat would hiss for them to back off. They want alone time. We all have times when we want to be alone. Or a cat loves to talk a lot. Yes, we love to talk a lot, but don't ever take it personally. If we talk, not stalk, my bad, then that means we probably don't know when to take breaks between every topic. You don't have to go on and on and on with every topic. Just stop for a couple minutes, then continue to to talk about another topic, then stop. Don't talk smack about the individuals back, the nonstop talker. They probably don't know that they are making your ears tired or wearing you down. Just share an example of what I'm sharing with you. Just share an example, take break in between this topic or another topic, and then stop for a couple minutes and you're good. So that way the individual is not wearing you out. I mean, they don't mean to. So that's an example right there. What to expect if a child has Asperger's or autism. When a child has Asperger's or autism, the child will hang out by him or herself, not wanting to play with any kids, not knowing the routines very well of school, asking for help constantly, and just being closed up, not talking a lot, not having eye contact. Those are all signs of with a kid. And if they're not doing what is not to be told, actually, don't get on them. Don't get on them. Just share small examples like, hey, you know this or that, or hey, is that the doggy or is that the kitty? And see if they're interested. Just approach them slowly. Very, very slowly. It doesn't mean they're not paying attention or uninterested. They're just unsure in what to do. That's an example of Asperger's and autism with kids. Our timing is off sometimes. Yeah, if we were to call someone on the phone or text someone on the phone, and if the friend is in the middle of something, don't be upset, don't be offended, don't get frustrated. Just be like, okay, I'm in the middle of this. Sure, you could talk with me. I don't mind taking breaks here and there. If that person were to say that, then go ahead and talk with them. But if they tell you, can we talk another time? Please respect their wishes. That's another example of boundaries, okay? So always ask them, hey, is my timing off? Or do you want me to tell you if this time is okay or whatever? Then just follow their wishes. That's all you have to do. And then you'll keep that friend for life, for sure. All right, the actual difference between Asperger's and autism, number 25. Or 24, I'm sorry. We apologize a lot. We don't like upsetting people, so we apologize a lot just to avoid a conflict or try to avoid getting scolded or snipped at. I mean, that's just our way of protecting ourselves. It's like a little shield, like, oh, I'm sorry that I do this. And if that person says, oh, you're okay, then okay, you can let your guard down a little. We are overly cautious people. We walk on eggshells after negative experiences to avoid being nipped at again. Okay, number 25, the actual difference between Asperger's and autism. Asperger's is actually the roof of autism, like I said at the very beginning of the video. It's more high functioning. We have more abilities to go behind the wheel and drive and all that. It's invisible, Asperger's, to a lot of people. We just have the small lack of understanding of not understanding the last piece of the puzzle. So repeating yourself towards us to actually get it, that's the Asperger's. Autism is more low functioning. The individual might need more guidance or more help or more talking about autism. If they are not interested in any tasks or uninterested, they are having a little guard up to avoid just to avoid conflict. I mean, nothing wrong with an individual showing no interest of anything. They just like to be quiet just to avoid anything negative towards them, and that's okay. So yeah, Asperger's is the roof of autism, and autism is a little bit lower, so the individual may need more help, more questions, a lot more explaining to understand this and that. So that's the actual difference. We can dwell too much depending what it is. Yes, on and off we can, depending on the mood. Sometimes a insult or a diss or a swear word feels, just imagine not wearing a shirt and having a full force squirt of syrup and entering your back. That is difficult to wash off. I mean, it takes time for us for a situation to wear off. Or like a bee sting. Ow. It may hurt. Yes. Do some people cry? Yes. Do some people crawl up in a ball? Yes. Or do some people mutter? Sure, I'm sure they can. It just takes time for the syrup or the bee sting to just wash off. I mean, it takes time. So don't get on the individual and don't tell them to toughen up. Just give them some space, give them some time. And if they repeat themselves the situation, that's because they are looking for a little bit of comfort and are probably unsure about what has happened. I mean, think of the Alexa going into buffer mode, not completely understanding, totally analyzing the situation. It's normal to overanalyze, totally normal, until they get it. Then if they get it, and they'll be like, oh, okay, all right, maybe I was a little sensitive here, or yeah, maybe that person's not having a bad day, and then the syrup washes off and the bee sting is healed, then it's okay, you can move on. So don't ever be afraid to repeat yourself about the situation. Be as kind as you can. You don't know what people go through every day. Like a friend told me online one time, show grace. Always show grace. You can't see the scars hidden inside. If only we could. If only we had x-ray vision, then it would be a perfect world. We could see what the troubles are. Totally. So please be patient with us. Anytime we overanalyze the situation, that means the syrup is having trouble washing off, the bee sting is having trouble being healed. We'll let it go. Sometimes it takes minutes, or even hours, or even days. It just depends on the mood. We have a lack of eye contact. Yeah, sometimes we do, but the people who are trained in school to look at the speaker, meaning the teacher, then we are unlikely to have lack of eye contact. That might be an Asperger's thing. Some people with Asperger's have lack of eye contact, like this. It's either they're not understanding what you're talking about, or they're afraid, or upset. When I'm upset, it's very hard for me to look in the eye, because then, oh my gosh, the floodgates open with me if I look someone in the eye. And if they're talking to me sternly, or even yelling, our brain sees stern talking as yelling. That's just how our brains think. Our brains think, oh my gosh, this person's going to hurt us. This person's going to hurt us. Flight mode, floodgates, floodgates. Don't look at the person, or the floodgates will come. That's just how our brains think. We go into survival mode, flight mode, or even fight mode. Being violent? Yes, some people definitely can have violent reactions. That's just all sensory overload. That's just their way to tell you, hey, I'm having a sensory overload. Leave me alone, don't touch me. Punch, go away, let me recover. That's what that is. Or I'm crying, leave me alone. The floodgates are not ending. Leave us alone for a sec. If we're having a lack of eye contact, it's probably because we are very upset. We're not understanding, or that's usually part of Asperger's or autism. Not having lack of eye contact. Some people have that problem, some don't. With Asperger's autism, yes and no. It just all depends. Every person's different. Some people are neat, some are messy. And if we are messy, please don't judge. Yeah, there are some neat freaks out there. But if you come over to an individual's house, and if their room is messy, don't judge. Just pretend the mess is not there. Because it really is inappropriate and rude to judge someone on how messy they are. If I were to enter someone's room, I could care less on what their room looks like. Okay, if they have a mountain of clothes, okay, so be it. It's your room, your house, you do what you want. Messy, clean, try to stay clean. If not, then try to work on it. But be respectful. Always be respectful, because that's how you get a dent in the friendship. Okay? Alright, so this is my lecture of Asperger's and Autism discussions. If you want to leave any comments or questions below in the comment section, feel free to do so, okay? I'm open to any question, okay? Just be polite about it. I will not accept rude, obnoxious words, and no swearing. If you do swear or overstep those boundaries, you'll be deleted or even blocked, okay? Alright, thank you for watching my lecture. Enjoy your time, your rest of your day. Make it the best day ever, like an awesome individual says online. Definitely. Have the best day ever. Enjoy your night, and I'll talk with you again sometime. Alright, talk to you later. Bye.